Hey, this is Jesse, AI7RK Portable. I am coming to you today from the workshop. I did an activation a couple days ago out at Millersvania State Park. It was a really awesome activation. I did it with a 40-year-old 100-watt boat anchor. I had all sorts of awesome messaging on breaking into ham radio and things that you can do to save money when breaking into ham radio. And the audio was just absolute trash. I ran into issues with my digital converter, and it sounded like I was underwater talking through a tin can. So I scrapped the entire video. I will be doing a retake of that video at another park, probably sometime this week or next weekend. But today, I wanted to do a little bit of solder work. I wanted to play around a little bit. I went to the hardware store today to do some work on my house, pick up some supplies that I needed. And I found some of these little guys. Wago lever nuts. Wago lever nuts are this cool little thing here. This cool little thing here where you lift up these little guys here like that, and it lifts up a little binding terminal. And you can stick some stripped wire down in there, and you can close it, and it pinches on it, and you do the same thing on the other side, and it pinches on it. So it's really cool for field repairs, really cool for non-solder connections, mostly temporary connections. Like I wouldn't wire some stuff up in my car with this stuff. I wouldn't wire anything in my house with this. But some people do. They exist for a reason. But today, what I'm going to show you how to make is a small, cheap, great for a ham club project, great little cheap connector that's awesome for field work and field day and just temporary portable station, shack type stuff when you don't have the time or the ability to solder, when you just need to get back on the air, you just need power going to your thing. I'm going to show you how to make a really cool adapter that will go from just bare wire to Anderson power pole. So the first thing you're going to start off with is your Wago lever nuts. This particular one is set for 12 gauge wire. You're going to need some Anderson power poles. I use the cheap Amazon ones because they work and I'm not putting so much amperage through them that I need to worry about it. You're going to need some heat shrink tubing. I like to use the marine heat shrink tubing because it's got this cool glue on the inside that fills some gaps and it just sticks to it and gives you a little bit of structural adhesion to it to help hold things together. You're going to need a little bit of 12 gauge copper wire. I am using Romex that has 12 gauge ground wire in it, and specifically the bare ground wire is what I'm going to be using here. You need your solder iron, you need some solder, you need some flux, you need something to hold everything together here. I use some little fisherman helping hands here, and that's really all you need for the project. So here we go. Let me get set up here. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is grab a little bit of this wire here. I don't need a lot. I'm just going to clip off about 3.5 inches-ish of it. So now I'm going to separate out the insulation just enough to get this to pop out. That's all that I need is that bare copper 12 gauge wire. What you're going to want to do is take your Wago connector and that copper wire, and you just want to make sure that it fits. You're going to clip that little guy on there. That's nice and tight, right? So I'm now going to take one of my Anderson power poles. So you've got your Wago connector here with your little bit of wire, and you got your Anderson power pole. Now, on the Anderson power pole, that wire is only going to need to come up to right about here, right? So you got your plug side here and your terminal side here. And that's only going to come up to right about here. So I'm going to cut that guy right here and use this for the other side. But what I got here now is my Wago connector. This bit of wire sticking out the end. So now what we're gonna do, we got our Wago and little nub in there. We're gonna take our Anderson power pole connector here. We're gonna put that right on the end. All right, so we want to make sure that this is gonna come all the way into here, like that. I want to space it. I'm going to try to get this lined up for you here. So that guy comes out right about there. Right about there. And so I'm going to get that right on the end, right there. Because I want the least amount of space between these two as possible for a little bit of structural integrity. So that gives me just about perfect. Right there is going to line me up. So I'm going to do a little crimpy crimp. Perfect. All right. So that guy is on right there. Now, every single time, I always have to check. I can never remember which side the power pole is on. So I always have to pull one of the things that I've already made. I always have to pull them out to make sure that I'm getting everything set up right. So here's a little barrel connector to Anderson power pole adapter that I made. So I always got to put these guys together here to remind me, because I want to make everything universal, right? So I get my power pole put together. So that's how it's going to go. Let's say that this is going to be the positive side. So it's going to go like that. All right, so that's going to be my positive side. Is it going to fit? Yep, just about perfect. Right there, it's going to come right up to the edge of that. I am a fan of soldering everything but the ground on your shack. I'm a fan of ensuring that all of your connections are solid and you never have to worry about a loose connection. So I'm going to solder this little power pole guy in here. A little bit of heat. Oh, clip loose there. There we go. So I'm all about soldering my connections because I do not want these little guys coming loose. So there you go. Got my Wago connector. Got my tips soldered on. Now it's time to do the other side the exact same. The cool part about this is now I have a template to make the exact length that I need for the other side. Same thing on the other side here. Just noticed that looking down at this video that you guys are catching me in my comfy pants. Got my my Fox PJ pants on. It's chilly out here in the garage. All right, so I got that little guy there crimped on. So now I solder. And remember, your solder follows the heat. There we go. So got my soldering done. Nice solid connections there. we're going to connect the Wago on both terminals, put that all together, and then we're going to put a little piece of heat shrink tubing on there. So I'm going to take my positive end that I already cut, push that in until it clicks. There we go. Same thing on my negative side. Push that in until it clicks. So what you'll notice here is that we're nice and equal on both sides. So now we'll put our Wago connector on there, nice and flush up against the power pole connector. Get my other Wago on there, nice and flush. And there we go. So what we got now is this nice little jobby here. We got power pole on one side, and we got this little terminal end on Wagos on the other. Now, this is a little bit flexible. It wiggles, right? So we don't want that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take that heat shrink tubing. I'm going to encapsulate the whole thing in some heat shrink. So we're going to run this heat shrink tubing from about right here on the Anderson power pole. And we come down to about the white here, about halfway down through the white, because we still want to be able to use the levers on here, right? So line that up. That's going to put us right there. There we go. So we got our heat shrink tubing. Lines up just about perfect with where we want it. And now we just got to shrink it. I know. I should probably use a heat gun. But again, all of this stuff is, frugal ham things. So I use my little gas station crack torch here. It works pretty well. I like it. I got this thing specifically for heat shrink tubing for field work. I love it. And the awesome part about the marine heat shrink tubing is it's got this basically hot glue inside it. I'm going to warm this all up. That hot glue is getting all ooey gooey inside. Shrink tubing is nice and tight on everything. So while it's still warm, I'm going to just kind of shape it and pinch it a little bit and squish. That hot glue gets all deep inside all those little crevices, the little gaps between the two connectors. Don't do this at home. My fingertips are dead from welding. But that hot glue fills all those little gaps, all those little cavities, all those little cracks in there. It basically makes this all one unit. And there is your finished product. So what this does is, let's say that you're out at field day and your power pole connector for your radio breaks, or you just don't have the ability on whatever thing you have, or you just don't have the ability on whatever connector you have. Somebody else has a power supply that has a connector that they have, say like this, and they got a section of wire like this, but you don't have a means to get this 12 volt connector to your radio, right? So you need to go into your radio. So non-electric, have a pair of wire cutters, wire strippers with you. Set that for 12. Set that for 12. What you have the ability to do with this is out in the field without solder, relatively quickly, just as fast as you can cut the wire and strip it. You can now positive to positive, negative to negative. So what you have now is this field expedient adapter that just clips right on, that gives you the ability to get power on whatever wire it is that you have that's running 12 volts to your radio, right? To your gear, to whatever it is that you're running. That just unclips that easy. And now you can swap over. Look, I've got alligator clips, right? Got some little alligator clips that I can attach directly to a battery. And now instantly, with this tiny little piece of gear that takes up almost no weight and no space, whatever it is that I have on hand that I can get 12 volts through, now I have the ability to plug my radio in and power it, right? So these little guys are great for your, I like to call them problem solver bag. I got a small little pouch that's got different connectors, different things like this, different adapters for, you know, BNC to PL, or PL to BNC, or whatever, you know, different antenna adapters. I'll have to do an entire video just on my problem solver bag. So these little guys here are great for the problem solver bag. You just throw them in there. They take up almost no weight, but man, when you need them, these things are beautiful. This 10 pack of Wago nuts cost me $9 at Home Depot. So that plus a pack of Anderson power poles, I think I paid like $14 for this 20 pack. It's 20 connectors, positive, negative, and then your little bits of wire, right? Some heat shrink tubing. It's one of those things that's great for a club project, because you can buy a 20 pack of these for about 20 bucks. They're about $1 a piece. You can buy a 20 pack of these, one of these. So now you're in 35 bucks. If somebody in your club has a roll of Romex, it doesn't need to be much for each thing. A little roll of Romex, cut off a piece, and some heat shrink tubing. I got my marine heat shrink tubing at Harbor Freight. It wasn't very much. It's not expensive, and man, they're really handy when you need them. It takes up almost zero space. So that is my solder project for the day. The Wago to power pole, little adapter. Yeah, they're beautiful. And once you get that marine heat shrink tubing, I can't tell you enough how awesome that stuff is. Once that gets in there and that hot glue squishes into all the little nooks and crannies, it's solid. You're not moving it. This is one piece now. So this is AI7 RK Portable, giving you a little field craft advice for a tiny little project that you guys can do as part of a ham club, or you can do on your own. I bought the Wago connectors. I throw a couple of these in my car, a couple of these in my truck. They're cool little things to have. They're handy, allows you to do repairs real quick. Doesn't require a crimper to connect terminal ends together, anything like that. It's just bare wire to bare wire. These things are beautiful. So this AI7 RK Portable. I'll see you guys at the shack, see you guys on the bench, see you guys in the next park. I'll see you somewhere.